Well, we're heading out on a family summer scouting mission, and it is a mission. You know, we want to accomplish something. When we come out here as a family, it's relaxing. We love just driving the dirt roads. We're not even going to hit a paved road tonight, which is pretty awesome. We don't even have to hit a paved road right from our house, so we just keep moving. And there's really conditions for getting us out tonight. I really want to see the clearing skies, which we have right now. There's no real weather in the forecast. Preferably, I'd like to see it cooler tonight than it was last night. Now, last night we had cloud cover, so it's keeping the temperature up. Tonight, I'm not saying it's cool. It was close to 90 today, but it's already tonight. No, it's still pretty warm, but the sun is setting, and we're going right before dark. So typically, what I'm looking for this time of year, and this isn't ideal tonight, is I want to see a 10 to 15 degree temperature drop from the night before. This is no different than hunting season, so it's a real good forecast for what this is going to look like during hunting season. And I'm looking for that change. I'm looking for no real weather in the forecast, and you know, that's the conditions which set the deer up. Now we'll let you know what we see tonight, but one of the purposes for coming out here and getting out here and looking right now is we're looking for specific bucks. So we're really looking for certain target bucks. And what's interesting, we're making a loop, and it'll be 9-10 miles, and we'll actually come back on it. We'll probably get back right at dark. It's 7:50 right now. Sun sets in a half hour. We'll be back in about an hour. But we're looking for specific bucks, and those bucks might be a mile from us. A couple of the ones we know of, we picked up about 3/4 mile away. Some might be 2 miles away. We might go all the way around, and then some might be 2 miles the other direction. But we're looking for those. We want to know what they look like, and once we see them, we're pretty excited because we know the timing of when they come on the property and how often they're on the property during the fall. And like I've said many times, and people don't understand this, you know, they can be skeptical, but until you see it, the majority of the time, unless deer are sandwiched into cover, and again, big ag surrounding small woodlots where deer have to be in those woods the bulk of the season because they have no other choice. When they have choices out here, the land is 60-40 woods to fields, then they have options. And when they have options, they spread out. And that's more the normal circumstance. So during the summer, they're on summer habitat. During the fall, they move to their fall habitat, sometimes September and October. That's what we're looking for. Again, we don't really care if they're 2 miles away because we know the timing they're going to be on the property, and we'll see them then. So typically we're looking for a night like this of really 10 to 15 degree temperature drop, pretty calming winds, no real great weather in the forecast. And today you can hear we got the whole family in here. Got Lily, Jax, my brother Kevin, sister-in-law Sue. So it's the last night they're here, and this is the night we're going on the deer cruise. So I'm gonna shut up, and I know Jen's looking that way while she's filming this way. So we're looking for some deer, and we'll see what we see. Well, that was the first decent buck, and all by himself. And we're continuing to look. We're getting in that 3 mile home range, you know, range from our house. And this is that outside that window where we would typically see these bucks. When you get within 2 miles, we're probably going to see those buckheads sometime during the daylight on our property. And especially the closer it gets from that 2 miles to 1 mile, a half mile, then a higher and higher percentage of those bucks will be on our property during daylight the majority of the season. We're at 3 miles out, so we get into some newbies out here. Slow night though. You can tell it's a lot warmer. It is about 10 degrees cooler than it was during the day today, which puts it around 80, but still it's pretty warm, and we're seeing that. If we have a good night where it's 10 to 15 degrees cooler than the night before, then we're going to see a pile of deer. Not tonight. Is there some right back there?
Yeah. Just a fawn, but she's running. Or no, right there. Just thought you might get some. Yeah, she's right there. Might be able to get right there. Is here?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a pretty cool buck. It's hard because you like get to this time of year. It's what's the date today? August
Seven.
7. But you get it this time of year, and our hunting season literally starts in less than a month now. And we can't wait to actually see some deer. So it's you know, I want to stop and just stare at that buck. He's a nice 3-year-old, looks like a 10-point, maybe even a split brow tine. But bottom line is, we got late fading fast. We got to move. So we're gonna keep going. Maybe speed up here, just go a little bit faster to get us to another spot where we expect to see some bucks. Starting to get some more deer right now. We're just right before dark, so they're starting to fill the fields. But we're about 5 miles straight as crow flies from the house, so we have about 99.99% chance of never seeing these deer or bucks on our place. But it's still cool to come out here and look. We also like playing that weather game. You know, we're at that point where it really does play out. If this was a typical early season bow hunting time, it shows like we'll get that movement late. Like these deer are coming out here right now right before dark, but not a very good movement with the weather. So if we were going to have, like on Saturday, we're having about a 10-12 degree temperature drop, probably a lot better day to get out here and take a look. You get some of these areas like we're passing a couple very large properties, several miles from our place, and what you find is a lot of times these are big parcels and they have a really hard time managing their doe population. So you get down in these areas. One of the reasons we like driving down here, giant ag fields, giant beans, giant corns we like looking at in October, November once they're cut. But you see a lot of deer here during the summer. You come here during the fall, you don't see as many deer. They're back up in the hills. They don't have the good food sources here. Maybe they're back on food plots back there. But a lot of reasons for bucks to be right now in these, especially the big open bean fields, and a lot of reasons for them not to be here later. But we're in that window where we're just not going to see them on our property. It's still fun to drive the neighborhood and check them out. It's getting right before dark, so it's just like, it's crazy. You get down in these big bean fields and it's just does upon does upon does, just piles of does. And the problem is we have a lot of lower cover right here, and these does just filter out and they stay. And you might think that's a good thing, but when you have that many does in a small area and they stick around,
Look at the moon.
There's
Wow.
not a lot of room for bucks left over.
Wow, that's so pretty.
Moon is pretty awesome tonight. You know, what's interesting right now is it's a really good time to assess a habitat, because we're driving around, we're seeing a lot of does and fawns and young bucks, some medium-sized bucks in these CRP fields and grass fields, native prairie fields. And these are fields in October, November, we don't even see a deer. It's low cover, good food value, okay food value during the summer. But really, by the time it gets into late September, October, everything's dried out, died out, and there's no food value, no cover value. So they're not here. But it kind of shows you what you want on your own property versus what you might want on your neighbor's property. And a lot of times, what's collecting deer during the summertime is just a horrible habitat during October, November, December, all the way through about March, until spring green up. So. Really noticing that tonight too. We're having all these deer coming out right now, and you look at all these does and fawns that are filling this field, and I know on this bottom field right here, this bean field, there's probably some giants that are coming out just after dark right now. They're coming behind those does and fawns, not because they're sitting in the same spot, bedding in the same spot, and then just waiting to come out later. They're coming out because if that food's down on the bottom up here, they're up in that ridge system right up there. They're all the way up there, and so, or halfway up. The does are in the bottom. They're just coming a lot further. So they still want to get up. They still want to feed at the same time. Those bucks are just moving later. They're moving further, and so they have to cover a lot longer distance to get down to this field. Think about that during the deer season, during the fall. Those does and fawns come on the plots first, the young bucks after that, and then the older bucks. And that's because those older bucks are a lot further away. If you don't have that depth to hold those mature bucks, it doesn't matter if it's during the summertime or the fall, you're not going to see those mature bucks. The difference is during the summertime, those deer don't move a lot. They don't move as far. That distance is really shrunk during the summertime. When you get to that fall, that's when that range from buck bedding to food source is expanded a lot more. And so you need even more depth during the fall. And that's another reason yet, you know, obviously summer food, summer cover versus fall food, fall cover for mature bucks. But that's yet another reason why you need more depth during the fall and why there's a lot of properties that hold good deer numbers, especially mature bucks during the summer, but they don't hold those same mature bucks or even the same size of deer herd during the fall, especially as it gets closer to December and January. You just have to have that depth. You know, it's always a lot. So no magnums tonight. We saw some decent bucks, but
It's going to be nice when it gets cold, I think.
yeah, it's always a bummer when it's, you know, when it's a little bit warmer like that. We don't get that temperature drop, and really it's the same. You know, that's one of the things we're looking for specific bucks. We didn't see any tonight, but it's always the same when you don't have that cold front. They just don't come out early. The does are coming out right at dark. That means the bucks are 45 minutes behind, half hour after dark, and that's what we saw tonight. Kind of cool because what we don't see during the summertime, we're not going to see during the fall either, as far as deer movement. And that's what's tough in a lot of this, because even scientific studies will show that deer move the same amount every day, regardless of weather. But the big but that a lot of that doesn't show is they move earlier. So they're still going from that same spot halfway up the hill, a mature buck, or up on the hill, back in the woods, to that summer food source. The difference is they start later, they get to the field later, move the exact same distance, they're moving the same amount at night. Doesn't matter if it's cold or warm. The bottom line is they're doing it after dark instead of before dark. That means a lot to you as a hunter, because when we hunt, obviously during the daylight. So that's what we see tonight. That's what we see every time. Been seeing that for 30 years when we look out at fields, watch fields, go for drives. And Jen, we love doing it around here.
It's great. It's
and tonight
fun.
we got to do it with the family, which is kind of fun. Makes it a little noisier, I'd say.
Yeah, a little bit. Sometimes people can be a little louder than we like them to,
It was
i.e.
funny
Jackson.
though. Yeah, but Jackson and Lily, they were like
they're just
playing with
laughing
each other and
playing.
laughing tonight.
Right.
So
It's hard to tell them to be quiet sometimes.
yeah, really, really enjoyable family time, especially with my brother and sister-in-law in town, and being able to have the kids driving
They
the
saw the
back
bucks
roads.
first.
Yeah, Kevin and Sue actually saw the bucks. Jen and I were worrying about filming and driving and talking, and all of a sudden Sue or Kevin, hey, there's a big buck, or there's a deer, and it turns out to be the buck. So all in all, a really good family cruise, which is what we enjoy during the summertime. There's always a purpose when we're going out there and a strategy, but heck, I mean, we just enjoy it, right?
It was a great time.
Yeah,
Always
feel
is.
very blessed to be able to do this stuff. And let's get back to the family. It's last night. Kevin and Sue are here. Gotta go play some bags.
Let's go.
You gotta lose again. With bags, I have to admit, Jen is the ringer of the family.
You do pretty good though. You've been getting a lot better.
I can hold my own, but not against Jen. So she depends on who she pairs with. You know, sometimes I get lucky and win, but usually not when I'm playing just Jen.